Thankfully, we were just doing the recap. We did not miss much over there. So if we are just reading the data through read, it will return 1 upon successful reading the data. It will return -1 upon unsuccessful reading of data. If this read operation fails to read any data, it will return -1. If it succeeds, it will return 1. Okay. If this value which is being read and stored back into C is not -1, is not -1, that means this read has successfully read the data, then I am trying to write that particular byte onto our write object. Okay, onto our out object by using a predefined function called as write. So to write the data onto our file, output file, we have to write out.write, and in bracket we need to mention which byte we need to write, which byte data we need to write. Done with this point, this will continuously loop, will continuously iterate till the read operation fails to read the data. If there are no further bytes of data remaining in the file, this read operation will return -1 and it will become -1 not equal to -1. This whole condition becomes false. Then our while loop stop execution. Is it clear till this particular while loop? Okay. This try, finally, try, catch, finally, and throws are a part of exception handling mechanism. I have not started with exception handling mechanism, but I have introduced you to that exception handling mechanism so that in the next class, that exception handling will become easy for you. What will happen in a normal scenario is, we'll mention beside the method, which is having some logic inside it, where an exception can occur. And again, trying to introduce you what is an exception. Exception is a possible error which a programmer may think that the user may make. Suppose if I'm thinking that a student will enter PIN number. So I'm thinking that the student will make an error in the entering of PIN number, like the PIN number value may not be correct, or the PIN number may be entered just the last 3 digits of the PIN number will be entered, numerical values, or sometimes the PIN number will be entered without specifying hyphens in between, or sometimes the PIN numbers will be mentioned without specifying CP in between. So these things I'm expecting as errors that may occur in my program. So as I will think for its solution also. So developers have thought for various errors that may occur while execution of our code, and they have defined certain classes for us called as exception classes. And one of the exception classes which the developers have written for performing of input-output operations is IO exception class. We are very much thankful for them because they have defined this class already for us. We are just reusing it. As a new learner, we need not worry about that class. But we will try to learn how to create our own exception classes also. Those are called as predefined exception. These are, sorry, when we start defining our own exception class, it will be called as user-defined exception. If we have usage of predefined exception classes, it's called as predefined exception handling. So now, in case of exception handling, we have got 3 concepts coming in. One is, we'll keep those type of lines of code where we expect an error to happen in a try block. In a try block, we will tell the compiler that try this particular block of code, these lines of code, and these lines of code may make an error. If the error happens, throw an exception of this category. Okay, throw an exception of this category. Where will it be thrown? It will be thrown to the compiler, telling that compiler, this error is happening, you handle it. You give whatever message you want to give. So compiler will go for this particular class, it will create an object of this class and it will give a proper message. Its corresponding method will get evaluated and a proper message will be given back to the user. So basic thing is, whatever lines of code we are thinking that may make a exception, we'll keep them in a try block. Our try block is starting from here to here. This try is a keyword. And once the try block has been evaluated, at the end, what should be done? That will be kept in finally block. That will be kept in what block? Finally block. This finally is a keyword. Finally is a keyword. This block will contain all the lines of code which are expected to be executed at the end of our program. Okay. At the end of our program, without fail, if you want a block of code to be executed, then you will keep it in a finally block. So what we have done here is we have actually opened these files for reading and writing purpose, right? In the finally, we are checking, are they not equal to null? Earlier they were equal to null, right? And later on they were assigned to some values, some file locations. If they are still being used, if they are still pointing to those files and they have not been closed till now, then I'm telling in dot close that input file, close the file which was used for reading the data. If the output object is still not equal to null, it will become null when it was not pointing to any file, right? If it is still not equal to null, that means out is pointing to some file location, then out dot close this particular file also. So I hope this program is clear for everyone now. Can it be quickly acknowledged whether it is clear now or not? Okay, good. Thank you. So like this, for character streams, we have got file reader and file writer. For byte stream, it was file input stream and file output stream. Here it is file reader and file writer. Okay. So the same type of program is it. Same type of program, but here it will read in terms of characters. Read it in terms of characters. Can anyone tell me where exactly there is a difference between the previous program and this program? Is there any difference between the previous program? I'm keeping the previous slide in front of you. Observe this one. This is byte based. Okay, observe it carefully and try to observe this program. What is the difference that you are observing? Correct. Instead of file input stream, we have file reader. Instead of file output stream, we have got file writer. That's the only difference that comes over here. Only at the time of creation, the file class names are differing, remaining all is same. So if you remember one program, you will be able to write another program automatically. Okay. So this was what I wanted to put it forth in front of you. I don't think we'll be having much time to invest now. Tomorrow Monday, we'll start with this output stream class and we'll try to see what are the various functions in the output stream, what are the input stream classes, what are the various functions available within them. Then we'll try to see how to have the file output stream classes to be used. We'll try to see some functionalities of them, some programs with regard to them, and we'll try to see what are the applets available. So I'm not going in a hurry way. So let us stop our class till character streams. I hope till here it's clear for everyone what we have learned. Let us quickly revise back what we have learned today. We have come to know that what is a stream. Stream is nothing but a set of data or a bunch of data flowing from a source location to a destination location. That source and destination can be a file to file, or can be a file to some monitor, or can it be from keyboard to the processor or something like that. But basically there are two types of streams. One is input stream, second is output stream. Input streams are those streams which will send the data from source to our Java program. Output stream are those streams which will take the data from our Java program and put it onto some destination devices or some destination files or something like that. Now, whether it is input operation or output operation, these two can be done with regard to two orientations. One is character orientation, another is byte orientation. If the data is read in terms of binary digits, then it is called as byte operations. If the data is read and written in terms of characters, it is called as character orientation. For different operations, different classes have been defined, and different classes we have to use based on their operations also. So we have seen what are the different classes that are available, and I have shown you how to memorize them also. Then we had a look on how to copy the content from one data to another, one file to another file, and we have seen it with regard to byte orientation and also with regard to character orientation. Okay, so please go through the fourth unit slides which I have already sent to you, and tomorrow we'll continue, that is on Monday we'll continue with our slides of our seventh unit, and after the seventh unit we'll be jumping onto our eighth unit, and then we'll jump onto our RDBMS back again. Okay, so on Monday most probably inshallah we'll be finishing with our seventh unit, and we'll be starting our ninth unit also. I'm closing the class now. If you have still any doubt, I will be waiting for 5 more minutes. Meanwhile, those who are not having any doubts can log out.